All right, I am going to show, oops, I got to get back into Illustrator. I'm going to show all of my artboards on the window, or you can just backspace out a little bit. We're going to make our trailer. So the window, the wheel, the door, and the gas tank are the three things that we want to bring onto the final trailer. So we're going to take these pieces, we're going to go to our artboard, we're going to select them, and we're going to position them. And since we've already grouped them, this shouldn't be all that hard. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to use the space bar to move the hand tool over. So I'm going to take this window and we're going to position it on our final trailer above the wheel, somewhere in there. I'm going to take the final wheel and we're going to position it inside the wheel well. Going to take our final gas tank and we're going to put that on our hitch. And I'm going to take the final door and we're going to put that right here in our trailer. So build your trailer, and when you're done composing it, we're going to marquee select all of these various pieces, and we're going to group them so that moving forward we can create a final image. All right. The next tool that we're going to learn about is how we can reshape a path and use the width tool. So we're basically going to start, we're going to go down to artboard number 9. How about number 10? There we go. We are going to take this line. If we click on it, we can see it's just a path. It's not a rectangle. It's a single path with an anchor at the top and the bottom. We are going to manipulate it into this shape, and then we're going to make some duplicates of it, shrink them down, and flip them on the vertical axis. So first thing we're going to do is make sure that our smart guides are on, and they are, or at least mine were, but we can always check here under the view menu. Smart guides are on. And with our selection tool, we're going to choose this line over here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And we need to edit our toolbar to bring in a reshape tool. It's probably not there already. So go to the bottom of your toolbar and click on the 3 dots. And then down towards the bottom in the modify family, I can see the reshape tool. So that is the tool that we want, and we are going to take it and we're going to drag it into our toolbar and nest it in the rotate tool family. So take this, drag it up to the rotate family right here, and let go. So it's now nested with the rotate, scale, reflect, shear, and reshape. So with the reshape tool selected, we're going to move our pointer over the path. Make sure, oh, I need to hit escape on this panel. Make sure we have this tool. And now when we come out here, as we hover our cursor over the path, we see a little open white square show up. And whenever we see that, we can drag away from the path at that point to add an anchor point and reshape the path. So we're going to do one up towards the top. We're going to pull it to the right a little bit. And then we're going to come down about 2/3 and we're going to drag to the left. So we're kind of making a wavy S shape. This is something we're going to learn in the next week or two. When we learn with the pen tool, we'll actually make this from scratch by making anchor points and bended points in between the anchors. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to move the pointer over the top anchor point. And when we get there, we want to drag it to the right just a little bit. Notice that it's pulling all of them over. We're just going to kind of pull it over here to the right and bend it even more. All of the anchor points were selected, which meant that the reshape tool adjusts the entire path. All of these were lit up in blue, so when I pulled one, they all kind of bent with it. So now if we look at our finished product over here, we can see that we sort of have this shape, but it's much wider in the middle. So we need to use another tool called the width tool that will make it wider at certain anchor points. It's still not a shape, it's still just a line, but we're going to make it wider at certain anchor points. It's called a variable width, and we're going to make the flame. So we need to find the variable width tool in our toolbar. And it's about 4 tools down from where we were. It looks like a line with a weird blob in the middle of it. It's kind of showing you that it can be wider. For some reason I'm seeing like a genie's lamp. I don't know why, but that's it. So click to select the width tool, and then move it over to the middle of the shape that we just reshaped, and notice that we see a plus sign show up. When it's positioned over a path, if we were to drag, we would be editing the width of the stroke at this point. So somewhere here in between our 2 points that we did add, we want to hover until we get a plus, and notice it's saying side 1, side 2, and width. We are going to drag away to the right, and the left is going to stretch equally, and we're going to take it to a side 1 and side 2 of approximately 0.2. So just start pulling, and when we get 0.2, somewhere in there, somewhere close, we're going to let go. So it made it thicker here, but it kept the width that it had at our other points. Again, this is a variable stroke on a path. It is not a shape with a path. This is called our width point right here. Click on an empty area of your artboard to deselect, and then move the pointer anywhere over the path again. This is the one that we previously added, but we can see how we can move up or down and add another one anywhere we want to. We see that white circle and a plus sign. Another thing we can do is bring this down to our original point, and when we get it there, we see the little tilde or the wavy sign appear. When we get that, we can click and we can drag this. We can say, oh, this should have been thicker up here, or it should have been thicker down here. Do you see how that's working? So you can actually move the point of the thickness. So slide that up and down just to see how it behaves, and then click undo to kind of bring it back to where it was originally. In addition to dragging, we can also double click and enter values, and that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to move our cursor over this top anchor point. And when we see the wavy line next to it and the word anchor appears, we're going to double click to put a new width anchor point here. And we should have a window pop open that allows us to type in side 1, side 2, and total width. We're going to change this total width right here to be 0 and click OK. That should bring it to a point. We're going to move down to our bottom anchor point, click, and then double click again and make this one be 0 as well. Okay, that one seemed to work, this one didn't. And select it, and then double click, 0. Okay, there we go. I missed something that first time through. All right, so we hover over the anchor point, and then we double click on it, and in the pop-up window, we're changing both of these to 0s. So at this point, we're going to go back to our width point, that original one, and we're going to drag one of them away from the center. So we have 2 handles. We have a left and a right, and so far we've pulled them equally, but we can grab just one and make it go out a little further as well. So by grabbing here, they're still acting in tandem. By holding a keyboard shortcut of Option or Alt, you can get them to behave individually. So if you want to make the whole width wider, just grab. If you want to change just one side, one handle or the other, hold Option. Right, as long as you have a shape that looks something like that, we're good. And we're going to leave our path selected. Again, this is a path. It is not a shape at this point. So we are going to use our selection tool, and the path is still selected for us, and we're going to do an edit copy or Command C, and we're going to do an edit paste or Command V. That made another copy of it, and with the copy selected, so it's selected right now, we're going to outline this stroke so that we actually have a shape to work with. So we're going to go up to Object, Path, Outline the stroke. Okay, now we can see that we have a bounding box and we have an outline. We actually have a closed shape. All right, we are going to hold down Shift and we're going to drag to make this smaller. Shift is going to keep it proportionate. If we don't hold down Shift, we get disproportionate resizing. So hold Shift and make this smaller. Bring it down here. And I'm just going to position this a little bit closer like that. With the smaller copy still selected, we're going to copy and paste it. So Command C, Command V, there's our copy. I'm going to bring it up here. And just to give it a little visual difference, we are going to flip this one. So with this shape still selected, we're going to go to our Properties panel over here, and we are going to find the flip along the horizontal axis or the flip along the vertical axis up in the Transform box, and we're going to choose the horizontal first one. And it flips it away, and we're just going to bring it up here like this to make our flame. All right, we're happy with that. We are going to marquee select our entire flame, and we're going to group it together and click to deselect. You probably noticed some transparency things going on when these two shapes were stacked on each other. They got darker. So instead of being a piece of construction paper where you don't see through to the other piece, these are kind of like vellum or a transparency where when you do stack them on top of each other, well, I need to ungroup that to show you. Hold on here. When you do stack them on top of each other, they multiply. This is a different light or mode. So we have this in transparency for a reason. I'm going to undo, and then I'm going to group these again if they aren't already. Yep, they are. The reason for that is when we put this all together in our final project. So we're going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to see that to the right here, they do have a flame or a bonfire ready for us. So we're going to drag this group of flames over here off of our artboard right now, and we're going to position them like this. And now you can see the transparency and why we did that. It looks kind of neat, like smoke or steam. We are going to marquee select this entire bonfire scene over here, and we're going to group it together. And then the last step that they suggest is that you turn off your smart guides. So Command U is a shortcut to turn them off. And then they want you to actually build this into one big graphic. So I'm going to keep pulling them back here. So they would bring this, and if you have your book, you can see that they have the bonfire here, and they have the trailer about here. They have the truck somewhere in here. Of course, I can't see the hitch. I don't know if this is good or not, but we're just going to bring over all these different items. Here's our tent. I don't know if we need a plant, but if we do need a plant, whoops, I'm just stretching it because I can't, I'm too far out. Grab this, bring it over here, and you can basically just create your own camping scene, which is kind of neat. So go ahead and do that, and when you are done, you should have a scene similar to this. I can now see that my truck could be a little bit closer here. There, now it's hitched up a little bit better. So we have just made a pretty cool scene using a variety of tools. Scissors, knife, eraser, shape builder, pathfinder, the width, variable width tool, and we bring it all together in this awesome project. And that is the end of Chapter 4.